Hello, everyone. My name is Kobe Smith, and today I will be discussing the topic of epigenetics. For this part of the PowerPoint, I want to discuss what is epigenetics. And the main question that I want you to keep in mind and ask yourself is there more to who we are than DNA alone? For years, we were taught that we are just what we have inherited from our mother and father, and even down the line from our grandparents and their grandparents and their parents, and so on and so forth. So that would be called genetics, right? But my question is there more to who we are than DNA alone? And this can be answered in the study of epigenetics. Epigenetics, if we want to look at what it is, epigenetics comes from two terms. The first term comes from the Greek language, and it is a prefix which means above, epi. And then the second word is genetics, which we know as the study of genes. Epigenetics, or above genetics, if you put them together. Epigenetics is the study of how environment and surroundings can affect how our body reads our DNA. So, in its core, epigenetics expresses that there is more to who you are than just what you have inherited. And it goes as far as to say that the surroundings that you have grown up in and the situational environment and environment control have played a role in who you are and how you are expressed. So, does environment change your DNA? No. But does it change how your body reads your DNA? Yes. Epigenetic patterns, like I said, do not change DNA, only how the body reads this specific sequence. That is very important. Epigenetics happens by, well, a few ways, but one way is DNA methylation. DNA methylation is just a big word to describe a way that genes are silenced or they become inactive. DNA methylation is it happens as a molecule called a methyl group binds to a small part of the DNA strand. Particularly, it occurs on the cytosine base of the DNA strand. And when this happens, and when DNA methylation occurs, it silences the gene it binds to, which means that when this methylation happens on that gene, it literally makes that gene become inactive. So therefore, whenever you could have certain genes, but they be inactive because methylation has occurred on this gene, if that makes any sense. And that was that was from Loscalzo down here. This next section I'll be discussing is gene expression. You may have heard of two types, which is nature. Like I expressed before, it is the DNA you've inherited from family, from mother, father. It's the DNA you've inherited from grandparents. Nature. But what I would also like to discuss is nurture. So on this part of unexpressed genes, because of difference in environment, you could have two separate people, one person or both people having the same genetic code, the same genes, yet because of difference in environment, one gene can be expressed in one person and not in the other. You could have one person who is raised in a positive environment. You could have another person who is raised in a negative impacting environment. And because of the environment, even though they had the same genes, the person raised in the positive environment would have a healthier and better life than the one who is raised in the negative environment. It is also worth noting that once a gene is expressed or silenced, it can be expressed again when introduced to a positive environmental condition. This means that take the person who was raised in who has lived in a negative environment their whole life. And I'm not just talking about mentally, I'm talking about physically as well. You take them and you put them in a positive environment, and literally epigenetic processes can change within their body above the genetic code, not changing their genetics, but changing how their body reads the DNA just by the change of environment. So, Allegra Torres, in his article, stated that there are 4 pillars of environment, or 4 pillars that kind of define who you are. And these 4 groups are toxicants, settings, lifestyle, and internal environment. Internal environment, obviously, mental health, age, gender. As you age, obviously, your body changes, and mental health can obviously have a role in physical health. Lifestyle is one of them. Like I said, a few examples of lifestyle would be diet, your sleep. Do you abide by your innate circadian rhythm? Diet, do you eat healthy? Relationships, how is it with your family? Is it a toxic environment? Is it a healthy environment? Those things all play a role. Exercise, examples such as that. Setting, such as your home or work, and toxicants like heavy metals, pesticides, and other chemicals can be harmful to the body. Good environment leads to good. A positive environment leads to positive epigenetic patterns. A bad environment can lead to negative epigenetic patterns. Um, and that's just not, that is not me saying that. That is scientific facts. That was Allegra Torres's article, by the way. The third part I like to speak of is environmental change and reversibility and the changeability of epigenetics. It is reversible. As stated before, it is reversible and ever changing throughout the human lifespan. One study from the CDC found that epigenetic patterns in smokers were different from those in non-smokers and former smokers. And this article also found down here also found that though after quitting smoking, smokers could get to the levels of epigenetic processes or patterns that non-smokers had, or that former smokers had, just in a year. I think was the amount of time that the people in the study it took. It's different for different people though. And meditation has also been a hypothesized belief of how to change epigenetics, but with this article by Vendetti, um, it is shown, it is little is known about the specific role meditation plays on epigenetics, but it has been clear that it does create inner silence, and this can help benefit mental and physical health. Here's my works cited.